Hello. So one of the skill sets that will really push you forward in 2025 will be learning how to program. And a good starting point will be web development. So web development is divided into two. We do have front-end development and back-end development. And if you know how to do both, or if you have skill set in both, you will be referred to as a full stack engineer. Otherwise, for front end, you'll be a front end engineer, and for the back end, you'll be a back end engineer. Front end engineering has to do with everything that you are interacting with, everything that you're seeing. It has to do with the web pages or the mobile app interfaces that the user is interacting with. Back end engineering has to do with the data, storing data in a database, interacting with the database, communicating that data to a front-end application through APIs. It has to do with storing files, manipulation of files, so on and so forth. So in this tutorial, we shall only focus on the front-end roadmap. What does it entail? Number one, HTML. So HTML is referred to as hypertext markup language, and it is super important because it is the structure of a web page. And as a front-end developer, you need to have deep understanding of HTML. The second thing that we shall look at is CSS, cascading style sheets. So cascading style sheet or CSS, this is what gives style to HTML. So the different types of styling that you see in terms of color, in terms of alignment, all that has to do with CSS. And then we have JavaScript, number three. And JavaScript, think about it. If HTML is the structure and CSS is the style, then JavaScript is the magic that brings the two together. Think about form validation, all that has to do with JavaScript. Think about animations. Think about charts. And if you're watching this video on any streaming platform, YouTube or whatever you're watching it on, that has to do with JavaScript. That is JavaScript in action. Another important tool is Git, which is a code versioning tool, and it helps us track changes in our code. And it is super important, especially when you're working in a team. So we shall take a look at Git. TypeScript, you can learn it. You can. It is not super important to learn it because it's just basically a strict version of JavaScript. And when you transpile it, it will still go back to JavaScript. But it is good if you learn how to use TypeScript. React.js, then we enter into the world of interesting tools. React.js, which is a library that has been built on top of JavaScript, and it makes it easy for you to interact with JavaScript, because trust me, working with JavaScript is hard, especially if you're writing vanilla JavaScript. But with libraries like React.js, we have others, Vue.js, AngularJS, they really make you working with JavaScript a bit bearable. We shall look at Sass. And finally, after looking at Sass, the other tool that becomes super important is UI libraries. Think about Tailwind, and these are names that you've heard. Think about Bootstrap. These are UI libraries that makes it really easy for you to build user interfaces super fast. And one thing that will differentiate you from a junior developer or an intermediate developer and will really push you forward is learning automated testing. It is super important, especially when building real-world applications. You really want to bake in your automated testing, and that is what we shall be learning. Next.js, if we get time by the end of the year, we shall learn Next.js. And finally, if we get time, we shall also take a look at React Native. So that is the front-end roadmap for 2025. And if you're excited about learning all this, join me and let us dive into front-end engineering.